On the 26th of April 1999, one of Britain's most recognizable television presenters was murdered on the doorstep of her London home. Jill Dando was just 37 years old. She was at the height of her career, engaged to be married and known by millions for presenting BBC programs including Crimewatch and Holiday. But in broad daylight outside her home in Fulham, she was shot dead. More than 25 years later, despite one of the biggest murder investigations in Metropolitan Police history, nobody has ever been convicted of her murder. So what happened, and why does this case remain unsolved? Born in Somerset, Jill Dando became one of BBC's biggest stars during the 1990s. She read the news, fronted travel programs, and became the face of Crimewatch, where she appealed to viewers to help solving some of Britain's most serious crimes. She was respected by colleagues, loved by viewers, and had recently become engaged to Dr. Alan Farthing. On the morning of the 26th of April 1999, Jill returned to her home on Gowan Avenue in Fulham. As she reached her front door, she was shot once in the head at extremely close range. Investigators believe the gun was pressed against her temple before the trigger was pulled. The attack took only seconds. Neighbors reported hearing nothing unusual. Around 15 minutes later, a neighbor found Jill collapsed outside her front door. She was taken to Charing Cross Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The Metropolitan Police launched one of the largest murder investigations the UK had ever seen. Detectives interviewed thousands of witnesses and pursued hundreds of lines of inquiry. Witnesses described seeing a dark-haired man wearing a wax jacket running from the area shortly after the shooting. Police also investigated a blue Range Rover seen speeding away from the scene around the time of the murder. Over the years, detectives explored multiple possible motives. Some believed Jill may have been targeted because of her work on Crimewatch. Others suggested the killing resembled a professional assassination. There were also theories involving obsessive stalkers and mistaken identity, but none have ever been proven. The investigation eventually turned towards Barry George, a man who lived just minutes away from Jill Dando. He was arrested in May of 2000 and charged with her murder. During a search of his flat, police found thousands of photographs of women taken without their knowledge, including images of well-known female TV personalities as well as newspaper cuttings about Jill Dando's career. Officers also discovered a photograph of George posing with a modified blank-firing handgun while wearing a gas mask. In 2001, he was convicted of Jill Dando's murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. However, concerns over key forensic evidence later led the Court of Appeal to overturn his conviction. A retrial was held in 2008 and the jury found Barry George not guilty. After spending 8 years in prison, he walked free. Today, no one has been convicted of Jill Dando's murder. More than a quarter of a century later, Jill Dando's murder remains one of Britain's most famous unsolved cases. The investigation is still officially open, and despite decades of theories, documentaries, and renewed public interest, one question remains unanswered. Who killed Jill Dando?